this, let's bring in Joe Gamaldi. He's the National Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police. And Joe, thank you so much for joining us and kicking off the year. Challenging topic, of course, but we just heard some of the residents from that little town in Maine. This is Wells, Maine. This is beaches and lobster rolls and rural, beautiful Maine. A little more than 11,000 people live there. Understandably surprised that this could happen in their community. What does this mean about the suspect? What does this tell us?
Well, I'll tell you this. We're certainly thankful that these officers are safe, that they're being nearly hacked to death with the machete. But this has all the makings of a coordinated terrorist attack, that anybody can be radicalized just like this individual was. And we need to have answers to some of these questions about how long the FBI knew he was a problem, how long they were tracking him for, why it allowed to get to this point. But I think this is really a culmination of just the bloody year that law enforcement experienced. We saw 330 police officers shot this year. We had nearly 90 ambush attacks on police officers. And whether people want or like to admit it, there is a war on cops in this country. And I think the most frustrating part for the 800,000 police officers across this country is there has not been a peep from the White House on this terrorist attack or the massive bloodshed we've seen of law enforcement this past year. I mean, the silence from our leaders in this country is deafening.
Yeah, you know, you touched on a lot of things there, from the FBI having this suspect on the radar to use the words coordinated. But I also want to talk about the better tracking of people when they are on the FBI's radar. This is New York City Councilman Joe Borelli. You talked about someone in.
If someone's under suspicion of terrorism, that's a good reason for them to follow someone. But when does the radar screen turn into scrambling the fighter jets? Is it when they go to a mass event on a significant holiday? That should have triggered some sort of intervention. I would hope, and I think the public would hope too, that we're tracking these people with the purpose of preventing these incidents.
And family members had brought attention to what they were seeing with this individual as well. Your thoughts?
Well, I certainly think we need to be very vigilant in how we track these individuals, and also keeping track of what purchases they may be making and what active actions they are taking. I mean, he is traveling to New York City on New Year's Eve. We have reports from the family members that he may have been radicalized. These are all warning signs that we need to be aware of in law enforcement, and in cases we need to interject and stop this individual before it gets to this point. I mean, we're just lucky that he didn't kill 3 police officers and that thankfully they're going to make a full recovery. And now our only hope is that the justice system is actually going to, when it comes to criminals, and hopefully we're going to throw the book at this dirtbag and make sure he doesn't get out of jail.
You know, shifting gears a little bit, Illinois is set to become, or has become, I should say, the first state to do away with cash bail starting January 1st. But a judge effectively putting a pause on that in some of the counties because of a lawsuit, not including Chicago, though. So this has gotten a lot of controversy. People think this could essentially work because then you go to something along the lines of a dangerousness hearing, a detention hearing that replaces cash bail. Your thoughts on the actions being taken out there in Illinois?
Well, I'll tell you, I think they're being pretty disingenuous when they call it the Safety Act, when it sure as hell isn't going to make anybody safer. Because wherever they've eliminated cash bail or did bail reform, it's been an unmitigated disaster. And look no further. They look right in their backyard in Cook County in Chicago. They instituted bail reform, and 50%, University of Utah study said, fit on violent crime while they were out. And this is amidst Illinois experiencing a 48% increase in murders over the last 10 years. So it's just complete ignorance to push revolving door criminal justice policies while we're in the middle of a historic crime wave. I mean, the stupidity of this boggles the mind right now, and it really shows you that politicians, they don't care about victims, they don't care about business owners, and they don't care about the law-abiding people in their communities.
Joe Gamaldi, thank you so much for talking to us. You are rapid fire. You always get a lot in. We really appreciate it. Happy New Year.